But it's kind of like the dieting thing I talked about earlier, like on but like what we're talking about as far as like how far you can actually progress as a natural bodybuilder and how long you can actually progress. I think both you and I, Berto, I mean, obviously I've been doing it since you were crapping in your pants at 3, but I mean, you're like pushing two decades or more now too. So, and you can still see your physique improving now. So I think a lot of times when people are absorbing information, whether it's on social media or what have you, there's a lot of information out there that I think some of it's just like myths, like that 5-year window. So just like knowing, like someone kind of sees that and they believe in it, then they're like, oh shit. And now I get all my gains in the first 5 years. I need to be perfect in the first 5 years. Well, just think of the stress level. Now I have to be as optimal as possible for the next 5 years. Otherwise my window is done. And then that's where people start making, you know, again, uninformed decisions. Well, maybe I'm going to go the other route now because I think I'm tapped out. When I think the reality is that the shelf life as natural bodybuilders or natural athletes in general, it's a lot longer. So I think if you think from that perspective, then you kind of realize, okay, I don't have to be as perfect. It takes some of that pressure off. It's kind of like doing a contest prep. You're trying to lose 20 pounds in 10 weeks. It's like, oh my gosh, like the pressure of that, trying to be perfect for that amount of time where, hey, if I just double my time, well, now it leaves me a lot more wiggle room. And there's a lot less stress there. So that's kind of what I noticed, just like engaging with a lot of other bodybuilders online, is just that perspective, like, oh, I gotta be there now or by tomorrow. And I think that right there creates a lot of stress. That's something that I just noticed. Want to point out.
Yeah, we got to pay attention to how we box ourselves in. And in many ways, even if it's with good intentions, like pursuing a bodybuilding career, but we can restrict ourselves so much, you know, to the point where we're not engaging in social events. We're not even doing the normal activities that we used to do outside of bodybuilding because we're just so hyper focused on it. So it's important to pay attention to how much of what I'm doing is absolutely necessary and how much of it is kind of just, you know, on the wayside. It's not that important, and it's hindering the optimality.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing you said, Amanda, was the whole, you know, you're kind of in charge of your response and your reaction, right? And that is something, you know, as much as, especially early on to get this thing going, like bodybuilding was just something that was just very stressful to manage, you know, is that it made me more aware of just how controlling stress in your life is first of all, it's going to serve your bodybuilding. And then I'm like, oh, wow, like this is just helping me across the board. You know, it's like, let's nip issues before they become these really, really big issues. Let's try to consolidate and organize our life in a way so that, you know, all the aspects of your life just, you know, have their time to shine, right? And it was all with the intentions originally of just making my bodybuilding better. But like now it's finally to the point where it's like, oh, wow, look, I'm scheduling nap time with my dogs because they love that, right? I'm scheduling, you know, dates with my mother, things like that, right? So again, like it's kind of a hard thing to crack. I think especially when you're first getting going with this, and you know you just want your piece of the pie, but eventually, once you figure it out, it was all worth it because I think especially for a bodybuilder, if you listen closely to the whispers, like it can give you an edge when it comes to many things in life because there's so many parallels that, you know, that, right. So that's been my experience. And it really honestly was not until maybe the last 6-8 years that I can say, okay, we finally have that covered and mastered.